My name is Arturo Bolondi, and I'm a natural resource management specialist at the World Bank office here in Lao PDR. Today, I'm going to talk about investing in nature-based tourism and biodiversity conservation, the Lao Landscapes and Livelihoods project. It's important to remember that Lao PDR has outstanding natural ecosystems and uniquely diverse peoples and cultures, and these findings here are really come from a flagship report publication conducted in partnership between the World Bank and the government of Lao PDR, and it was published in 2019. And this flagship publication on nature-based tourism really looked at how could unlock the green growth potential that nature-based tourism can bring along, and how to meet the conservation and climate objectives of the government. And so let's look at a short video where these findings and recommendations from the report are summarized. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as you have seen, there are key four priorities that were identified, and these four priorities would be investing at protected areas, in villages, in businesses, and in institutional capacity. We'll get back to that. And so the government of Laos took the lessons from the report and decided to bring it to the next level, therefore to invest. And this is how the Lao Landscapes and Livelihoods project came about. The objective of the project is to promote sustainable forest management, improve protected area management, and enhance livelihood opportunities in selected landscapes in Lao PDR. The project is a total of 57 million for a six years implementation period. As you can see in the map on your left, the green zones are the protected areas that the project will focus on and will build the nature-based tourism activities in. The other colored areas are other denominations of forests that will not be covered in these presentations, but are also part of the overall project scope. So there we get to nature-based tourism. Nature-based tourism is defined the economic anchor of conservation. This is how the Lao government defines it, as it can bring the much needed sustainability, especially financial sustainability, to the management and the conservation of protected areas. And this is very important because in countries with small public budgets for protected area management, tourism could really bring that steady revenue streams necessary to conduct biodiversity monitoring, ranger patrols, etc. So the project will adopt a holistic approach to conservation through nature-based tourism. And the holistic approach includes 4 main areas of investment that will take place at the same time. These areas are investment at the protected area, so at that level. It will invest in communities and villages. It will invest in businesses with active collaboration of the private sector, and will invest in institutions and the enabling environment. So this holistic approach would hopefully maximize the impact by happening at the same time. So let's go one by one in these 4 levels of investments and see what are the key features. Investment in protected areas consists of a number of activities, but the main one includes the creation of a so-called nature-based tourism strategy at the protected area level. So each national park or protected area will have to develop a participatory strategy, which have to include a number of stakeholders, local people, villagers, and also private sectors on top of local government officials. These protected area tourism strategies will have to identify key areas that are suitable for investment, some products that are to be developed, needs in terms of infrastructures and capacity. And the whole idea is that the companies that participate and the villages and communities that participate in this process will then adopt this strategy later on. The second level of investment is the investment in communities and villages. Of course, people live inside those protected areas and are therefore the most important targets for looking after the forest, manage it correctly, and make nature-based tourism a truly successful business. Therefore, the project will provide scholarships for selected youth to attend vocational schools, and therefore go back and find jobs in the emerging tourism and hospitality sector. But it is important to note that these scholarships are not only for hospitality related skills, but in general on vocational training, so that the tourism value chain that will bring other jobs are these jobs could be really taken up by local communities. And of course, there are participatory conservation agreements that are signed between the park and the villages. So then the communities themselves are at the front line in terms of conservation, patrolling, but are also aware of what are the biodiversity-friendly livelihood strategies that they can adopt in developing their own socioeconomic objectives. Moving on. The project will invest in businesses. Now, this is a true innovation of this project in Laos. It was never done before. And what it is the creation of a nature-based tourism business leveraging facility. The facility will be managed by a private business contractor. So the government will just be the sort of overseer. And the facility will provide matching funds to selected small and medium enterprises up to $100,000. Now, matching funds means that the facility will basically match the amount of private capital already invested by the company in exchange for the company commitment to the sustainability, both social and environmental, of the commitments of the park. And the ideal candidate targets for this facility would be those very companies who showed interest in the first place and worked with the park and with the communities to start to draft the tourism strategy. So you can see how this all comes together. There is the planning at the protected area level, there is the work done at the village level to build the local capacity, and there is the work coming down to investment with local companies that are interested and are aware of what are the opportunities because they have participated in the planning. And this, of course, would ideally multiply the rural economy through injection of private capital and knowledge of how this tourism business could be profitable and sustainable. The fourth level of policy development, of investment is, of course, in the policy development and the enabling environment for doing business. As we have seen in the video, one of the key barriers to development of tourism, and especially nature-based tourism, is the lack of harmony between ministries and agencies. As we have learned, tourism is not a one sector, but is a hybrid. It has issues managed by the forestry, but also by the tourism ministry, labor, planning and investment, industry and commerce, etc. Therefore, the project has dedicated budget to create a national task force at interministerial level to coordinate fees, concession structures, harmonizing laws and regulations, and bring those harmonization down at the local level so that it is easier for businesses interested in the process to participate and for the process to start and quickly start delivering results. So all this planning happened before COVID, but then when COVID hit, of course, the main issue is that the borders closed and tourism really plummeted. Now, of course, there are challenges and opportunities that this pandemic brought along, and as you can see in the screen. And while you can read the serious challenges that are there and continue to plague the country and the sector, I would like to focus briefly on some key opportunities that the pandemic has brought up. And one opportunity is that this gives focus to really branding and planning for the post-pandemic world. We have learned that there is a global demand for nature-based tourism that is increasing because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown that people around the world has experienced. There is a high demand for nature and for the outdoors. And of course, Lao PDR, with its outstanding natural capital and cultural diversity, has to place itself as one of the top destinations for this kind of new market. Comparatively, the second opportunity is to focus on national tourism. Because the borders were closed, the Lao middle class started traveling through their own country, discovering the natures and beauties of Laos, which they hadn't done before, and are demanding more and more nature-based tourism experience, especially for urban population that is getting more detached from their natural and cultural heritage, and they want to reconnect. And therefore, the national tourism is another market that has the highest potential for growth and for sustainable growth. Of course, support for small and medium enterprises through the matching grants, and not just for the future, but also to bridging these difficult times where companies are challenged by the lack of tourists. And finally, the support of local employment through casual labor and in the protected area management itself. So this is all to say that there is a lot of work to do, but exciting to go ahead. And you are all welcome to visit Laos and its natural beauty as soon as it is possible. Thank you very much for your attention.